Looking out my window, sun shining bright.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Your boy Reese, aka The Sideline, and we back over here with some more of this NBA talk, man. Today we covering the NBA season. We're calling it the NBA season preview, NBA season award preview. We got MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved. Not really gonna touch on Coach of the Year or the other awards just yet, like Clutch Player, all the new ones that they added. We'll save that for a separate video, but for today, that's what's on the slate. So let's get into it, man. Kicking it off with MVP, of course, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetekounmpo are the top three candidates for that award. Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid being the two that we're mainly focused on. As an NBA community as a whole, Joel Embiid is the main focus. Joel Embiid and Jokic are the two focuses. Giannis is kind of taking a back seat in that conversation, at least as far as the analysts and talk shows and things of that nature goes. But yeah, kicking it off with Jokic. Recency bias, especially over the past couple weeks, have really been ruining his chances at possibly getting his three-time MVP and making history. He's only missed up to 8 games at this point of the NBA season. Jokic is somewhat of an Iron Man. He hasn't missed too many games in a year. He's always played at least 70 games in his season, so that's to be expected with Jokic. But yeah, the recency bias thing, there hasn't been a 3-time MVP, like I said a couple times, since 1986 when Larry Bird did it. And if, in my opinion, if LeBron James couldn't do it, I don't think they're gonna allow Nikola Jokic to do it. Yeah, he probably has the greatest chance, or it makes the most sense to crown him MVP because his team is the #1 seed. He's the best player on that team. And last year when he did win it as the 6th seed, as the best player on that team, now they're the #1 seed. That's what we were expecting coming into the season. And not to mention he's averaging nearly a triple-double. So it makes the most sense to go ahead and crown him with that award. But like I said, the recency bias, if they didn't allow LeBron James to do it, yeah, D Rose killed 2011 and he deserved that MVP. But if LeBron couldn't do it, I don't see Jokic doing it or anybody else in the near future. Giannis, they didn't even let Giannis do it. So there's no real valid argument against Jokic winning the MVP though, other than the fact that there is the recency bias and all these other star players that won back-to-back and couldn't get it a 3rd time. Even Michael Jordan couldn't get it 3 times in a row. So that's the only valid argument against it, I guess you could say. But the team has obviously improved since being at full health, and he's leading that pack. So the last few games of the season, the last week, it's about 10 days left until the playoffs, the play-in starts. April 9th is the last game of the last day of the regular season. So anything can happen between now and April 9th, and that, in my opinion, will determine who's going to win this MVP award. It's so crazy. It's so close going into these last week. Next up, Joel Embiid. He leads the league right now at 33.2 points per game. He hasn't scored less than 25 points in a game since All-Star break. That's very impressive. He's gunning for this MVP award. He's tired of coming second fiddle. The man has never even made first team All-NBA. I don't think if y'all even noticed that, but he's always been second to Giannis, Jokic, and these other players. Anthony Davis, he's never made first team All-NBA. So this is the year where he can finally cement himself as the top dog, the best center in the league, first team All-NBA, and the best player in the league winning the MVP. The man has had game-winning baskets, game-winning blocks. He looks like the best player on the floor every night that he's out there. Like I said, since All-Star, he hasn't scored less than 25 points a game. He's really locked in. Even if it's not for the MVP, the man really just wants to have playoff success. You can tell he's hungry, he wants it. Although he's only been in the league 7-8 years, Joel Embiid kind of has something to prove coming up. Not as much. He said something the other day, like these guys have MVPs and all these accolades, and y'all talking about y'all are more focused on what I have to prove going into the postseason as opposed to them. And I mean, he's right. Jokic just won back-to-back MVPs, and they have yet to make it out of the conference finals. So the criticism to Joel Embiid, in my opinion, is somewhat unfair and misplaced. The blame is not completely on him. Joel Embiid shows up and he performs, bro, whether it's the regular season or it's the playoffs. He's unlucky with injury, but Joel Embiid shows up and he performs once he's there, bro. Whether it's offensively, defensively, his impact on the court, his body language, he's improved over the years. Joel Embiid is a true leader out there on the court, bro. So that I feel like that blame and the whole he has something to prove is being misplaced on Joel Embiid right now just because of the lack of playoff success. But when you look at players like Jokic, Giannis has won it. He's really shooting a shot. He's really taking a shot at Jokic, and he's not afraid ever to say the controversial statements. He's Joel Embiid, like that's what he was known for. Joel's gonna say it, and he's also gonna back it up with his play. In my opinion, Joel Embiid, just hear me out, has the best case scenario of winning the award. When you look back at the past 4 award winners, it's only been 2, but it's been back-to-back. So Giannis winning back-to-back, then Jokic winning back-to-back. Joel was top 3 to 5 every season for that award. Now he's having arguably his best season alongside a former MVP or all-star caliber player, in James Harden, who he hasn't had a player of that caliber since Jimmy Butler left. He has the greatest chance. Just think about the back-to-back, then the back-to-back. And what I was saying earlier about Jokic, they might not allow him to three-peat. With that back-to-back, then back-to-back, Joel now can close in on that opportunity with this last week and make that a reality for himself as being cemented as the best player in the league. And then next year, following suit, has the potential to win another MVP, but that's getting too far ahead. But like I was just saying, the back-to-back, back-to-back, now they're trying to crown someone else. It could be Joel. Just think about it. They're rounding out the MVP ladder, MVP race. Giannis Antetekounmpo, he's finally averaging over 30 points a game in his career at 31.2. Last year, he averaged 29.9, so he finally cracked that 30 points average on the season. I heard on Through the Wire podcast, shout out to my boys Kenny, Pierre, D Mills, and Mike, that LeBron James, I forget who said it, but Giannis has fallen into the LeBron James category where we just expect him to be great and dominant every year. So his stellar season somewhat get overlooked by a 6-seeded Jokic winning the MVP or an Embiid-led team this season that hasn't been better than his Milwaukee Bucks team for a majority of the year. Right now, they're currently the 1 seed. The Philadelphia 76ers are a 3rd or 4th. We're putting Giannis in that LeBron James category where we're expecting him to be so great, so dominant that the seasons that he is having, the impact that he does produce out there on the court is just being overlooked by these other guys. Or it's like, oh, well, we expect him to do that. He's supposed to do that. Well, how's he supposed to feel appreciated or feel like he has the recognition? Although I know Giannis doesn't really care. He just wants the championships. But even still, like, if you're going, like, the man is doing what he's supposed to be doing. We'll just leave it at that. His usage rate is at an all-time high at nearly 39%, and the team is still amazing if he plays or not. That could be his biggest knock on his opportunity going. Now that I think about it, that could be his biggest knock against him winning the MVP award because the team is so stellar without him being there. That could be due to good coaching. That could be the continuity. But the most valuable player, you could see that. In my opinion, if a player is really that valuable, like you say, take Jokic off the Nuggets, take Embiid off the 76ers. Neither of those teams, in my opinion, are top seeds in either conference. So you take Giannis off the Bucks for at least this season. We're talking this season. The Bucks are still a top 5 seed. I mean, I know the sample size is small. He's only missed 16 games this year, but the Bucks still can perform without their best player in Giannis due to Jrue Holiday taking a step this year, Brook Lopez taking his step, and then Chris Middleton still being there. And the continuity that they do have was still having these championship, the players that they have in the championship run. Yeah, that could just be his biggest knock on not winning the award this year. That's just what it comes down to. Rookie of the Year, don't know if y'all really care that much. We obviously know who it is. We knew who it was going to be from day one from the NBA draft, Paolo Banchero. It could have went Chet's way had he played this year. He got hurt over the summer. So, I mean, I don't know. Could have went either way, but no Chet. Paolo, he did his thing this year. Jabari, he had a slow start, but he started to pick it up. Past month or so, Jabari's been looking nice, but as far as the top rookies go, Paolo, by far, head over everyone else, head above water over everyone else. Averaging just under 20 points a game with 7 rebounds and 4 assists, just under 4 assists to go with it. He had comparisons to LeBron James coming into the league, and although obviously he's not going to live up to that expectation, or I could see it. I could see the potential of the comparison, but he has shown flashes of greatness in his future, and that's all we could be excited for Paolo. I hate when these kids come in and they put these labels on them and these tags of like the greatest of all time, or the next him, the next this, the next that. The only person that really ever lived up to that expectation is this man right here. So it's hard when you do that. You have nowadays it's easier because you do have the players like LeBron and Melo that really open the doors for the media, high school media and college, for these players to be comfortable in interviews and just accepting the fame factor. But it's still hard when you put these expectations on these young players coming into the league. They feel like they have to live up to them. But Paolo, moving forward, I feel like he could be, he's obviously the centerpiece of the Orlando Magic. So moving forward, we'll just monitor that situation, see what happens. Obviously, in my opinion, he could have a couple All-Stars down the line. Even next year, he had some votes this year, so only time will tell. Benedict Mathurin did look great early on. I will give him his props on that. He is second place, I believe, in this race, but Paolo's just so far ahead at the moment that it's not really a race. He's cooled down quite a bit. Mathurin has cooled down quite a bit since early on, and he also tweaked his ankle a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, Paolo's going to be running away with this award. Most improved player, man. This is probably my favorite award of the NBA season because it's a player that comes out of nowhere. Most improved. It's a player that you really didn't expect to take a jump that they did. And the player that, in my opinion, is a clear front winner, Lauri Markkanen, had such an amazing season this year. Like, it came literally out of nowhere. The man had it wrapped up a month into the season when Utah was sitting at the 1 seed for a couple of days. The Utah Jazz was sitting at the 1 seed for a couple of days because the play that the level of play Lauri Markkanen brought to the team when everybody wrote them off as a lottery team. The man's points have increased by 11 from 14.8 all the way up to 25. His rebounds went up 3 by 3, and he's back to being a near 40% shooter, just under 40% at like 39.8 or something like that. Don't leave a man open in the corner. I've watched Utah quite a bit this year just because of the emergence of Lauri Markkanen and the young guys that they do have over there. I'm a fan of Colin Sexton. I like the defensive prowess of Walker Kessler. So I tune into Utah Jazz a little bit. They also, when they had Mike Conley, so I was watching them. But yeah, you cannot leave Lauri Markkanen open in the corner. I don't know why so many teams decide to just leave him open from 3. He will knock it down. His nickname is the Marksman for a reason, and not just because it rings cool with his last name. He's a true marksman out there, so you can't leave him open. He's far more aggressive than he ever was in his career. He doubled his free throw attempts from the prior season. He's still in the upper echelon when it comes to shooting percentage per night or average per season. He's shooting 87.3%. That's a career high for Lauri Markkanen. So that's most improved. That's a most improved player to me right there. Points up 11, rebounds up 3, 87% from the free throw line, the career high. That's most improved. That's the definition of a most improved player right there. Now the man that he's competing with, Gilgeous-Alexander from my Oklahoma City Thunder. He's in this race. It's somewhat like Shea wasn't highly touted. I won't say that. He wasn't really looked at to be like this guy to be like the franchise player, but ever since the trade to OKC, being mentored by Chris Paul for that 1 season, and since Chris Paul has left, he's really taken that step to be that guy for OKC. But this year alone, crazy season. In my opinion, though, it is similar to the Ja Morant most improved player, an already established player that's known to be something, or he can be a cornerstone of a franchise. He's receiving praise for something that we expect him to do already, or that we know they're capable of becoming, is something better way to word it. If there was a second tier MVP, like let's say you got Giannis, Joel Embiid and Jokic up here, and then this second tier, you got like players like Shea, LeBron. Well, LeBron's not a second tier player, but like Shea, Jason Tatum, and like a Ja Morant. Shea should win that second tier MVP just based off the season that he does have and the impact that he has on the court when he's playing. When he's not playing, the team looks terrible. When Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is playing, we can win any night. The Oklahoma City Thunder can win any night. They can beat the Lakers on back-to-back games. They can go and spank the Warriors where Steph Curry drops 40+ points. Klay Thompson's going off for 3, and we can still win the game because Shea Gilgeous is just that lethal out there on the court. He's 4th in the league in points per game this year, averaging 31.3. He has a 7-point jump. It's a 7-point jump from last year when he averaged about 24, 25 points. He's also shooting a career high of 90% from the free throw line. Like this man, yes, he did improve, but we're talking most improved. And in my opinion, Lauri Markkanen is a clear front winner for that award. Shea did his thing, of course. He's averaging more points than Lauri Markkanen because he's going to get better shots than Lauri Markkanen. He's a more versatile player than Lauri Markkanen, so I expect him to average more than Markkanen. But when you look at the season Markkanen had, I'm going to go with him winning that award. And yeah, Lauri Markkanen, most improved. Sixth Man of the Year. This is another award that, in my opinion, it's only worth talking about one player, and that is Immanuel Quickley. The man has looked stellar this year. Coming off the bench, this is only his 3rd season in the league. He's a true bucket off the bench, a Kentucky boy, so you know I got to root for him. Like I said, a legit bucket off the bench on high volume shots. He's a work in progress, 3-level scorer. We see he can get it in the lane, behind the arc, or even at the mid range. He's also a free throw killer. He's an above average 80% shooter at the line, so that is a very, very essential piece to have off your bench for a team that's trying to make a playoff run. He can also go and get you 30 and boogie on him while he's out there doing it, having fun, skipping around and stuff. So Immanuel Quickley, bro, the 6th Man of the Year. Kept it short and sweet. Now this is the one, in my opinion, that could go either way. Obviously MVP could go either way, but really with this one, these two guys have been really neck and neck all season when you talk about who's the front runner, who's the runner-up. Both of the guys are monsters on the defensive end, especially when you talk about around the rim, and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Brook Lopez for Defensive Player of the Year. Oh my gosh, they are both. I would not attempt a shot at the rim if I saw either of them down there. Me personally, I'm taking that floater. I'm doing a mid-range jump shot, something. I'm dishing it off something. I'm not attacking the rim of Jaren Jackson down there. If Brook Lopez down. Did y'all see that block Jaren Jackson had on John Collins? Or was it John Collins? Whoever it was. Bro, them tried to go up and dunk, and the block was so vicious, the ref thought it was a foul because dude fell that hard. Like, he came with some force, and Jaren Jackson was not having it. So he almost grabbed it out of bro's hand, and they both fell. That was a nasty block. They had to review it. Like, that's how cold the block was, bro. Jaren is that cold when it comes to blocking shots at the rim, bro. So be wary. Yeah, going into it, bro, Jaren Jackson, we just gonna go with him. The man is averaging over 3 blocks a game. Are you, like, think about that, bro. 3 blocks a game. Some people can't even get 1. He's averaging 3. Sometimes he gets 4, 5, and 6, and he's getting a steal to go with it. That's a defensive player. That's Defensive Player of the Year material right there. When Jaren wasn't playing and he was recovering from the injury, Memphis, similar to Boston Celtics with Robert Williams last year, their defensive identity, their defensive aggression, it just didn't look good. But you reinsert Jaren into that lineup, and you can tell immediately the rejuvenation for the team, that rejuvenation factor for the team, knowing that there's a guy behind you that is willing to go up with anybody for any shot, no matter who it is. He's going to try to get that block, whether it's at the rim or whether somebody's trying to shoot a jumper over him. Jaren Jackson is a true shot blocking maestro. And Brook Lopez, he's coming off of a season. I don't know if y'all knew this. He's coming off of a back surgery. Man only played less than 15 games last year because he had a back injury, and he was rehabbing from a back surgery. He looked like he turned back the hands of time, stepped into the hot tub of youth, the fountain of youth, and he's playing his best basketball since his last season in Brooklyn, bro. All around, offensively and defensively. I know this is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate argument, but all around, Lopez has looked stellar, bro, from recovering from that injury. He's averaging 2.5 blocks and half a steal to go with it, but his impact goes far beyond the stat sheet. Yeah, Jaren has the over 3 blocks and a steal, cemented steal to go with it. But when you think of the impact that Brook Lopez has on the court, just think about this scenario real quick. He's teammates with the best player in the world, Antetekounmpo, who's also a defensive beast. The man has won Defensive Player of the Year himself, and Brook Lopez is the anchor of that team now, defensively. You could attribute that to Giannis taking a step back on defense and being more aggressive offensively, or you could just attribute that to, giving credit where it's due, as giving Brook his respect on recovering from that back injury and being just so dominant on the defensive end that now he's in talks for Defensive Player of the Year after having a back surgery at such a seasoned age in the league with all these miles on his body. When players, this is not a shot, no shade at all. I wish him the best, all the luck to Ben Simmons, but players like Ben Simmons, who's a much younger, much more athletic player, can't seem to recover from this nagging back injury. So kudos to Brook Lopez, bro. But like I said, with the MVP, this one's gonna come down to the last week of the season. Whoever has, the best games, the best showing in this last 10 or so days in the season, that's what's gonna decide this Defensive Player of the Year award. But in my opinion, I think I'm gonna get an edge to Jaren Jackson. But yeah, man, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Of course, we're gonna touch back next, once the season is wrapping, we'll touch back on the awards. We'll touch back on a previous video that I had about the teams making the playoffs and whatnot, see what the seedings are and who's got who. Come back, talk hoops with y'all, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, it's your boy Reese the Sideliner. I got somewhere to be, so I'm getting out of here. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all later.